I'm going to be introducing Jennifer. She and I had lunch together about 6 weeks ago. It was really enjoyable at your delightful restaurant on the property. Jennifer Rominiecki is President and CEO of Selby Botanical Gardens. Since 2015, Jennifer has guided Selby Gardens through a period of major transformation, both in its physical campus and its role in the community. The gardens are now nationally and internationally recognized and were recently described as a rare combination of arts and scientific, or arts and science, which I thought you usually think in terms of arts and culture. This is arts and science. Many of us has followed the redevelopment of downtown campus and to see the results in phase one. It's a complex project with a range of community interests, and there's been a strong effort to move the gardens forward while responding to public input and environmental considerations. As downtown residents, we are especially interested in how phase two of this expansion will take shape, how it connects with nearby neighborhoods and supports the broader vision for the Bayfront and downtown. Jennifer will be making remarks, and then as normal, we turn it open to questions. So we really look forward to your presentation. Thank you, Jennifer.
Great. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Okay. Terrific. Are we good on tech? Not yet. Are you okay with that? Okay. Let's see what happens. Let's see. I mean, it's okay on here. I don't know about the Zoom screen. But anyway, I'll just start. So it's great.
We're good on Zoom.
I know many of you, so many familiar faces in the audience. I'm Jennifer Rominiecki, President and CEO of Selby Gardens. And I would just want to remind you that Selby Gardens consists of two campuses, right? We have the downtown Sarasota campus, which is closest to this group. And then we also have the historic Spanish Point campus 10 miles south. And so everything we do connects to this mission statement at both sites to provide bayfront sanctuaries connecting people with air plants of the world, native nature, and our regional history. So everything we do at both sites connects back to this. And I know I'm just trying to advance this. I don't think it's not going forward. Let's see how we're doing here.
Here we go. I got you.
You got it?
Just give me the slide when you're ready.
Sure. Okay. So I'm going to share with you the progress on the master plan for the downtown Sarasota campus. And before I do, I always like to take a step back, and we'll go to the next slide, and just ask the question, why is the work of Selby Gardens important, right? Get a little bit more big picture. Next slide. Well, it's really because all life on Earth depends on plants. Plants provide 96% of the oxygen we breathe, food, medicine, shelter, clean water, and a cooling system for our planet. And Selby Gardens' role is really to advance plant research and inform worldwide conservation, because if we don't know what the world has, we can't conserve it. And we can go to the next slide. I think we're having a little trouble here. But anyway, so basically, what Selby Gardens does is really build awareness about the importance of plants to life as we know it, right? And so the second question I always ask when I share this plan is, why is it so important? Why must we make it a reality? And is it working out? All right, so if you want to advance a couple of slides, next slide. Next slide. And then I'll point out this map. This map shows Selby Gardens' international reach with its scientific work globally. So of course we're important locally, but also globally. Next slide. So again, back to that question, why is this master plan so important, right? Next slide. I just want to remind you about the core challenges that inform developing this master plan. Ken Sheelan's very familiar with them. Patrick Gannon's very familiar with them. And so basically, number one, Selby Gardens has the world's most important and best scientifically documented collections of orchids and bromeliads, okay? And they had been housed on the ground in the flood zone in aging infrastructure. It was actually Hurricane Irma that kind of forced us into action. And I can tell you that following the major hurricanes of last year, that our preserved scientific collections would have been lost had we not built phase one just in the nick of time. So that was always the top priority of this plan. Second problem to tackle was, which was a better problem, is that we could no longer accommodate all of the visitors who wanted to connect with Selby Gardens. On peak days, we'd turn away hundreds of visitors because we were lacking the core infrastructure we needed to accommodate the public, parking, orientation, all of that. Third, we want to preserve our historical treasures and our 15-acre oasis in the heart of downtown for generations to come. Many people never realize Selby Gardens is privately owned. At any time, the Board of Trustees, over its 50-year history, could have sold parcels for high-density development. We never want that to happen. And one of the best aspects of the master plan was codifying the land as one parcel as a botanical garden. We created our own zone district. And then finally, we want to provide long-term fiscal and environmental sustainability. So next slide. Yeah. I think it's
just might be taking it.
okay. So let's see if we can get the aerial up here. And okay, yeah, let's stick with this one. And so basically, no, it just jumped. It keeps, okay. Do you think you could go back and come back to get the whole aerial on this screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can get that. We're just waiting for it to load up.
Something with
Yeah.
this one.
So if we just get the aerial up, I would just stick with that and skip all the rest. Because I think I can kind of explain the project mostly from that one aerial slide, if we can get that one up.
Well, Jennifer, while
Yeah.
we're waiting, let me compliment you. And Selby Garden has one of the best brunches in Sarasota.
All right. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, at the Green Orchid Restaurant. Wonderful. So brunch menu on the weekends. So I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so we're just going to leave this up and and that'll be it. We're going to skip all the other visuals because I think I can really explain the plan and take your questions based on this aerial shot. But basically, to remind you, so this is what the entirety of the master plan looks like from the aerial view. And right over here is phase one, which is open and raring to go. So hopefully you've all been there. Phase one opened in January 2024 and consisted of the restoration of the historic Palm Avenue Promenade as a pedestrian-only thoroughfare through the heart of the gardens, the new Welcome Center with a wonderful lily pond garden, the new Plant Research Center adjacent over here, the Living Energy Access Facility, or the LEAF. Yes, it houses parking. It also has a one-story garden to plate restaurant, a new gift shop, but the kicker is the 50,000 square feet of solar on the roof that makes us the first net positive energy botanical garden complex in the world, generating more energy than consumed. The restaurant is also the first net positive energy restaurant in the world. In addition to those buildings is a new courtyard, and underneath the courtyard is a tremendous stormwater management vault, collects all the rainwater, cleans it, returns it to the bay. And then around the perimeter is a wonderful multi-use recreational trail that's all planted, and we contributed that out of our private land. So all of this is open. And since opening it, we've received incredible accolades. So Time Magazine named us to the top 100 greatest places in the world of 2024. The Wall Street Journal named us to the best architecture of 2024. Travel and Leisure gave us a global sustainability award. And Vogue magazine and USA Today named us to the top botanical gardens. So that's with phase one. I can only imagine what will happen with phase two. So if we could get that, is it? Okay, here we go. All right, no, okay. Well, that's good, okay. So basically, the second phase of the project is the idea. So today, when you used to visit our conservatory, you would see less than 5% of our collection in that one house, right? You saw all of these other antiquated structures housing our collections that were not accessible to the public. With phase two, we are embarking on a hurricane resilient greenhouse complex that will basically be the first of its kind, preserving and putting on display almost our entire research collection of more than 20,000 plants. This is really cutting edge. We're using all resilient materials. It hasn't been done before. And we're also using 100% renewable energy. So it's really an exciting project. And then adjacent to it will be an indoor-outdoor learning pavilion for all of our education programs for children and adults. We have more than 10,000 children and families we educate annually with very little facilities. This will give us a dedicated place for that, right? And then the old glass houses that were actually built in the 70s out of real glass, which also took quite a hit during the major storms. All of the old infrastructure comes down. The old Welcome Center comes down and gives us more garden and more garden features. So when phase one, those of you dining at the restaurant, when you walk down Palm, you'll see that this will end up being the focal point of the whole gardens. It will truly be a resilient crystal palace that will not only protect and sustain the collection, but make them accessible to the entire world, because you've barely seen any of our plants at this point. They're all behind the scenes as far as our wild collected collection that's internationally renowned, right? And so this we're embarking on phase two is the glass house complex, totally resilient, the learning pavilion, and new garden features. So we will be breaking ground on this part of the project by the end of this year, with completion expected by the end of 2027. And then the third phase is really the smallest part of the project. It was really designed the biggest part to the smallest because of the resiliency challenges we have. Phase three is about unifying the pathways throughout the gardens, fixing our dockage and seawalls, and doing a full historic renovation of the Payne Mansion, our museum building, right? So basically, what's incredible about this entire project is that it truly is a gift to our city. So we have raised $115 million from the private sector for this project. And basically, the first phase was a $52 million capital investment. The goal for phase 2 is 60.9 million, and we've already raised nearly 51 million, or 83% of the goal, in less than 1 year. So it's exciting, it's privately funded, and it's really a gift to our community and beyond. So we're really looking forward to the transformation. And basically, what we are embarking on in order to accomplish the second phase is we will be relocating our living collections off-site in the interim. So 20,000 plants will be getting on moving trucks and moving off-site to a kind of a mid-step in resilience. I mean, certainly, so we're building a temporary facility that is definitely an upgrade over how they're housed today. And then this will be even further, much more so, with the state-of-the-art technology that we're deploying here. And so before I open it up for questions on the project, I just wanted to share a little bit about what's coming up at Selby Gardens and the exhibitions on view. So right now on view at the downtown campus is the High Life, or Contemporary Photography and the Birds. And this is a wonderful interdisciplinary art exhibit featuring the bird in contemporary photography. So there are about 70 works of art on view, both in our museum and outdoors in the landscape. And then coming up in October, we'll have our annual orchid show. And this year we're featuring contemporary artist Rebecca Louise Lough, who is known for her installation artwork using dried flower material. So we will have a display of living orchids as well as her art installation within the museum itself. And then I did want to mention that in November at the historic Spanish Point campus, we will be opening up a really wonderful family-oriented exhibit featuring a renowned Scottish author, Robert Louis Stevenson, and basically his beloved book, A Child's Garden of Verses. And so that will be on display at the historic Spanish Point campus. And I did want to mention that in addition to our beloved Lights and Bloom holiday light show, we are doing a Halloween light show at the historic Spanish Point campus. Tickets just went on sale, and that will be on view all throughout the month of October in the evening. So it'll be a lot of fun. So back to this, phase 2, we are embarking on breaking ground by the end of this year, completion by the end of 27. And I want to open it up for questions, and also tell you that on our website are lots of beautiful images that we're having trouble calling up in this presentation. But not only is it taking care of our needs, but it is absolutely stunning. It will be Sarasota's Crystal Palace of plants. More than 20,000 plants on view, with really a one-way, oh, well, it's not quite, let's see now.
Make it smaller.
Yeah, let's see if, no, okay. This is the exhibit house. Actually, maybe if you would put if you go back, since it's kind of working right now, we'll look at the main slide from the exterior. This one.
I think it's
Just going on its own, or forget it.
We're gonna get there.
Okay. So anyway, I'd love to answer any questions you might have. This is the slide I was hoping. Yeah, okay.
The
Well,
previous one?
this one, if we can get the whole
You do
image.
that, you do that.
No.
Zoom it with your fingers.
Let's see if we can.
User control here.
There we go. Well, this gives you, so when you're coming down Palm Avenue, on that promenade, you can kind of get that feeling of what will be there. The next time you stand there, you can see how this really incredible facility will straddle both sides of that walkway, and it will truly be a museum of plants. So if you think about the conservatories you may have visited around the world, most of them are Victorian era. Nothing wrong with that, but not exactly built to a hurricane standard. And so this is truly a chance for innovation to create a model that will be, really tapped globally, because there are valuable plant collections all around the world. And we know that these hurricanes don't just happen in Florida with these big weather events. So we have this chance to truly be a model for how to do this, how to steward a living research collection, and at the same time, bring it out and connect it to the public. And so you as a visitor will be able to traverse this entire complex. And in the center will be a rotating exhibit house. So when you come and see our special exhibits and you go to our display conservatory, we change that display. This will have a dedicated exhibition house that is always rotating and changing with the changing installations. And then all of the adjacent houses will foster different climates and different aspects of our collection and be on view to you, so you can actually see them. And the pathways throughout will be totally accessible, ADA accessible, and we'll basically bring out 20,000 plants to the public. So we're really excited about it. Yes.
Jennifer, it looks terrific, and it looks hugely exposed to the next storm that comes through. Is this bulletproof glass? What have you done to protect against the next?
I will tell you. So there are a number of things. So if we rewind to the beginning of this plan, we thought, well, should we move the collections off site or secure them on site? We arrived at safeguarding them on site because moving them off site wouldn't necessarily safeguard them. In fact, there are a lot of storms that have moved inland, although we got it last year, of course. So we arrived at safeguarding the plants on site, as well as duplicating our rare plants and sending them to our colleagues in other environments around the country in different weather zones. And so this footprint of this facility was selected because it is out of the high impact flood zone. It is the highest ground on our property. So it's the safest place to be. In addition, the entire base will actually have an entire concrete buffer on the bottom, right? And then the material itself is hurricane resilient material. Now, this material that we're using has been deployed in more behind the scenes projects. This is the first time it's being deployed in a front of house kind of conservatory design. And we're in the testing process now where it passed the first test, where the material had to take 100 pounds of pressure in order to make sure that it would hold up in its kind of bracketing. And so the test we are now working on is called a missile test, where they shoot 2x4s at it at 150 miles per hour. And so when I have that test, and I'll get a video of it, I am going to share it because I think everyone would be really interested in this process. But the whole idea of resilience is the core of this plan and always has been. But after the season we had last year, we know how critical it is. And so, I attribute the rapid success of fundraising for the second phase to two things. One, the confidence built with achieving phase one. Two, the need. Those storms, everyone understands how urgent this is to accomplish and get it done as quickly as we can. So we are at that sort of bridge between innovation and function, you know? And so I'm really excited about what will come out of this to help others around the world, for sure.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
The Bay had a lot of success with their phase 1 section where they put those rock burrs out in front of the, out in front in the bay.
Yeah.
So there's that little burr, those little rock islands, if you want to call
Yeah.
them, right in front of it. Are you guys going to be doing something similar to that there to help with the resilience?
I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm happy to let all of you know that we did receive a state appropriation of $1.7 million for resiliency of our coastlines of both campuses. So at the downtown campus, we are going to be designing what will essentially be a mangrove buffer on the perimeter of our property to really add another layer of protection. Some of you after the storm probably came by and saw the derelict boats on our property. If we could get this in place and done right, it should prevent those boats from washing up on the property. During the storms, the other part of this grant will cover replacing the seawall at our historic Spanish Point campus, which did come down in the wake of those storms.
Well, I know the Bay had a lot of success with those burrs. Those were out separate, and the difference is all you had to do is go from where those were to just a little bit further, like on the other side of Van Weasel, with all of the dock, everything that they had built on the seawall had been totally destroyed.
Yeah.
And those burrs really seemed to be what helped break that up before it actually hit the coastline. So it was like a pre-protection to the seawall.
So when we first embarked on this plan, the first thing we wanted to do was reforest the mangroves along our perimeter and try to claim back some of the land that's there. And at that time, the Army Corps of Engineers said, not now, not ever. And so now with this appropriation, I know there are some new, helpful plans being put in place to allow people to do more of this coastal resiliency. The time is right for us to get this right and hopefully protect ourselves from future storms. Yeah. Yes.
Will there be any boat transportation between the two Selby campuses?
Yes, and so I'm glad you brought that up. So we've had this wonderful program, Set Sail with Selby Gardens, which has been a huge success. Of course, we did lose our dock at the Spanish Point campus with the storms last season. We're working on getting that back in place, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to restart the boat program in November. Also, for those of you who are familiar with the Mangrove Walkway Boardwalk along the downtown campus, which of course has been scrimmed off, I'm happy to say that the work will be done in the next few weeks. So by October, that should be repaired in time for the Orchid Show, because that's a wonderful amenity. Everyone loves it. And all the wood is there. It's just a big jumble. So it will be fixed by October. So we're looking forward to that.
Any more questions from the board members? Jim, go ahead.
Well, I would like to compliment you. My wife and I spend many hours there. But one of the things that really impresses us is how families and young children explore, and you can just see their curiosity and minds open. It's a huge benefit for families, and I appreciate it. And even the night events, when kids come with the lights, they just think this is the coolest thing.
I love that.
Thank you for that effort.
Thank you so much. And, building on that, thank you for recognizing, what we're doing to try to engage families. When phase 2 comes online, it'll be like an entire extended classroom for people of all ages, because these treasures, you haven't seen them, so it's really exciting to connect the public with our 20,000 plants and then have adjacent education facilities that are indoor and outdoor. So there'll be just so many more programs that we'll be able to do. Great, thank you. Yeah.
I think I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago at the planning board meeting that I had been to Longwood Gardens in July, and I went deliberately to their orchid house because it had recently been restored. And I was really disappointed because all they had were displays of specimens. There was no art, there was no creativity with the displays. And what I think is magic about Selby Gardens is how you marry the arts and the plant material so that it has an excitement that you don't ordinarily see when you look at plant material, especially at other facilities like Longwood Gardens.
Well, thanks, Ken. And, really what we're trying to do with it, this of course is an arts and culture community. And the museum at the gardens has been, showing art since the 70s. But with the exhibit program and rotation and looking at major artists through the lens of their connection to nature, what we're trying to do is really open people's eyes, to really look at the world around them and see how people are really inspired by nature. People we never expected, artists we think we know and love, where their sole impetus has been nature. And so I think the program has been a great way to really kind of connect people to the different aspects of nature, wake people up, to really understand how nature impacts our daily life. And believe it or not, in February, the 10th exhibit in the Jean and Alfred Goldstein exhibition series will open. And which, so this program has been so successful, and we'll be announcing the next artist in about 2 weeks. So stay tuned. Everyone's been asking me who it is following George Harrison. We'll be announcing in about 2 weeks. And, again, it'll be totally different. And that's also what's fun about it, is always giving people a new reason to come back.
Peter.
Just one quick question, because it's so fantastic. Have you done any economic impact studies? What's been the economic impact of the Selby's Garden expansion on the community?
Great question. You're pointing out to me that I need to update that study, but the study I have from early on is about 90 million in economic impact. But I that was before all this cost escalation, everything happening. So I think I should get that updated number. Thanks for pointing that out, because it's powerful. And, we've really worked hard to have this project benefit the local community. So we enlisted very technical expertise from outside of the, the local area, but as many of the vendors and construction that we could do locally, we have, so that, the revenue generated goes into our community.
Jennifer, Patrick, one more.
That's again, campus you have now. Until Oregon and the Arboretum. How much reuse of the wood in local chairs, benches, etc. I saw some of your slides had standard mechanical benches and so forth. With the fact that you were going to have to remove some trees, has any thought been gone into actually having those trees, wood, reused, and have some local artists create benches and things like that, where it's reused, you get local artists involved in that.
Absolutely, and we did that for yeah. So if you haven't been behind the scenes, I invite all of you to let me give you a tour. But for phase one, actually in the public areas, if you go up to the Welcome Center desk and you look at all the inlaid wood, it's all reclaimed from the project. And then there is a selection of benches there. But in the Plant Research Center, we actually paneled walls and reclaimed wood. We did an atrium feature, and absolutely. And so, unfortunately, of course, after the hurricane, we lost trees as well, but we milled them so that we can do that. And we work with Ryan Tremblay out of Osprey, who's an excellent local artisan, to do just that. And we also sell cutting boards and other things in the shop from our own wood, which is really fun.
Well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. We appreciate the update.
Thank you. I'm gonna grab my bag. Thanks so
And
much.
Jennifer's got to run now, but we will have her back. And again, thank you so much for you and Lauren and your help today. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.